Welcome back to Davening with Meaning. Today, episode 9, we're going to be talking about Yigdal Elohim Chai. This is based on the 13 principles of faith of the Rambam, written around 850 years ago. And each line here is a different principle of faith, of emunah, and we're going to learn it. Now, there's a lot to be said about Yud Gimel Ikarei Emunah. All the politics behind it, all the emunah, the machloket about it throughout the ages. We're not really going to get into that. Just in a nutshell, it's important to mention that a lot of the Rishonim and afterwards their students did not necessarily go with these Yud Gimel Ikarim. Not because they were against it necessarily, but because once you say that there's a principle and this is the principles of Judaism, then you're also saying that there are things that are less important. When you're saying Ikar, then you're also saying that there's something that's tefel, that's less important. And a lot of rabbis went up against that. And they said, who's to say that these are the 13 principles that define what Judaism is and who's a Jew? So who's to say? The Rambam's to say. And Be'emet, when the Rambam decides these 13 principles, they are accepted in the majority of the Kehilot of Am Yisrael. So today we're going to learn it together one by one. And it's important to note that when the Rambam is writing this, he's not only writing this to the Jewish people, it's kind of a dialogue between the Rambam and different religions, different faiths in the world, differentiating Judaism and them to show what we believe in and oppose what they believe in. So, the first one, Yigdal Elokim Chai Ve'ishtabach Nimtza Ve'en Et El Mitziuto. Hashem is great, A. And B, the second part of the first principle is that there is no given time of when Hashem starts. Meaning, Hashem is. Hashem always will be, and He always was. There's no time that we say, this is when Hashem is. Hashem is, He just is. That's the first one. Number two. Echad ve'en yachid ki yichudo, ne'elam ve'gam en sof le'achduto. Hashem is one. We say this every single day. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hashem is one, and everything in this world comes from Hashem's oneness. So first of all, the first attribute is going against people that are atheists, that they say there might not be a God, or there isn't a God. So the first principle of Judaism is there's a God. And the second principle is that there is a God and He's one. This isn't going against people that are atheists, it's going people that do idol worship, of avodah zarah. This is one of the first things about Judaism. We know the famous medrash about Avraham Avinu. He goes out and he sees the sun and he sees the moon and everybody's doing avodah zarah. And Avraham Avinu sees that there's one big master that's in charge of everything, right? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is El Elyon Koneh Shamayim Va'aretz. He is the highest power, the highest source that controls everything, and it all comes from Hashem's oneness. Everything in this universe comes out of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There are no multiple gods. There is the one true God, which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. En lo dmut haguf ve'eno guf lo na'aroch elav kedushato. So this is also a little bit against Christianity and Greek mythology, that they believed in gods that had a human form or statues or things like that. So the Rambam saying, no, according to Judaism, we believe that Hashem is one and He is ruchani. He's spiritual. It's not a physical person or pesel, a statue that we could actually physically touch. It's something that is transcendanti, which I don't know how to say it in English, but it probably sounds familiar as the same. Hashem is ruach. Hashem is spirit. Kadmon lekol davar asher nivra, rishon ve'en reshit lereshito. Hashem is kadmon, meaning He doesn't have a starting point. Hashem always was. Right? So if the first attribute saying that there is a God, then 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth one is saying that Hashem is kadmon, meaning it's not that there's a starting point of Hashem. The world that we know, the universe that we know, the planets that we know, they have a starting point. And eventually, they'll also have a finish point, right? Because every chomer, everything that's material, has an expiration date. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not have an expiration date because He's not material. He doesn't work. When I even say He, the Rambam goes in a lot to that. But it's the only way that we could try to maybe kind of relate or understand. Hashem doesn't have a starting point, therefore, He's En Sofi, He's the En Sof. He's eternal. Hino Adon Olam V'chol notzar yoreh gdulato u'malchuto. Hashem is the master of the universe, and everything that's created in this universe teaches us about Hashem's greatness. If you would want to describe for me a very famous artist, right? So you could tell me his name, you could tell me maybe what he looks like, but it would be hard to understand what he could really do without seeing his art. The Rambam is saying if you want to understand a little bit who HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, you have to look and study this world. And you could get there through physics, through math, through biology, obviously also through the Torah, through nature. Everything you see in this world, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's footprint. So study it, and through that, you'll get connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shefa nevuato natano el anshe sgulato v'tifarto. Now, the Greek philosophers, obviously everybody agreed that there is a God, right? Or most people believed that there is a creator. However, their philosophy said, Hashem created this world and moved on to the next project. The Rambam says, no, Hashem created this world. However, he's still very, very relevant. And how do we know that? Because we have interaction with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's through the prophets. The prophets that came to the world and had a yeshir, a direct relationship, conversation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, who is the greatest prophet of them all? We'll see the next one. Lo kam beYisrael kemo she'od navi umabit tmunato. There was none, and there will never be a prophet like Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was able to get to a madrega, that he was able to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on a very, very deep level. Now, why is this so crucial for us to believe this? It's because of the next one. Torah temet natan la'amo el al yedei nevi'o ne'eman beto. Hashem gave us the Torah through Moshe Rabbeinu at Har Sinai in order to give that Torah to Am Yisrael. Now, why was Moshe Rabbeinu the biggest prophet? There's a lot of reasons. He was a tzaddik and he took Am Yisrael out of Egypt and he brought it through the desert. It's all true. But I think the biggest attribute about Moshe Rabbeinu was he was able to bring all of Klal Yisrael to a madrega of prophets, of Nevi'im, that happened at Har Sinai. No other prophet was able to bring Am Yisrael to that madrega that they could be prophets of themselves. You know, they would say about the Rebbe Milubavitch, why was he a great leader? Because he created leaders. He didn't only create followers. If you're a good leader, you create followers. If you're a great leader, you create followers and leaders. And Moshe Rabbeinu, he created prophets, all of Am Yisrael. That's Geshmak. Hashem does not leave this covenant that he has with Am Yisrael. This religion, this people, it's a covenant that Hashem says in the Torah, he's not going to leave it for anything else. This obviously is with a dialogue with Christianity that says that, yes, there was a covenant with the Jewish people, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu left and created the New Testament. Or with Islam that say, yes, of course, Hashem took out the Israelites from Egypt and he went through the desert. He gave them the Torah, but today the Quran is the way we're supposed to go. No. So the Rambam says it's very explicit in the Torah. Hashem made a covenant with Am Yisrael, and he's not going to leave that covenant and to go to a different nation. Hashem knows the end result. He knows what we are going to choose, what we're going to pick, and he knows how everything's going to play out. Now, this is a very big question about bchira chofshit, right? Are we able to make decisions or are we obligated to go according to Hashem's plan? If he knows everything, so do we have bchira chofshit? It's a very big question. And the Rambam is going to answer it right now. Gomel leish chesed kimifalo, noten larasha ra kirishato. Hashem is going to reward the righteous, and he's going to punish the wicked. So wait, if we didn't have bchira chofshit, how could the Rambam even say that? Right? If there's no bchira chofshit, Hashem can't punish anybody, because if you're just doing what Hashem dictated, then he can't punish you for doing something bad, because that's what he dictated. The Rambam says no. The fact that Hashem is all-knowing doesn't mean that at that present moment you have bchira chofshit. Now, how's that possible? We, as humans, we're bound to time. Time plays a huge part. There's me of now, and there's me of now, of a minute ago and of 10 minutes. Hashem is over time and matter. So Hashem knows how everything's going to play out. Even if there's 1,000 different ways I could go, Hashem already knows which way I'll take. Lehavdil, If I give 2 bowls to my children and say, here, pick a bowl. With one of them, I put a lot of chocolates and candies, and the other one, vegetables. I, as a parent, already know that my little kids, they're going to choose the chocolates. I know that already. But they still have that bchira chofshit. They still could choose the vegetables. And if I was a Kadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hashem, I'm not, I have a different job, but if I was a Kadosh, I would already know for sure what they're going to choose, because I am not bound to time. Now, there's a lot to talk about that, but it's a very short class here, but there's a lot more to be discussed about that, but we'll save that for a different time. Yishlach leketz yamin meshichenu lifdot mechakei ketz yeshuato. At the end of days, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to send us the Mashiach, which is very, very, very crucial belief in Judaism. The world is going to a better place. It's not stam that the world evolves. Evolution is part of creation. We know this from science. We know this from the 6 days of creation. Everything is always evolving, but it's evolving to make something good. And that is something so crucial in Judaism. We believe in tomorrow. It's not stam that our national anthem is Hatikva. We believe it's going to get better. Hope. The last one. Metim Yechayael berov chasdo, baruch adei ad shem tehilato. Hashem will bring back the dead. They're going to live again. And we're going to praise Hashem's name forever. Now, bringing back the dead, how's that going to unfold? The Rambam himself says, Lo nida ech sheyeh ad sheyeh. We don't know how it's going to play out until it plays out. But something I could say is that we say mechayeh metim when we talk about rain. In Shmoneh Esrei, the bracha of rain is also the bracha of tchiyat metim. When it rains, it replenishes the world. We are able to see a mini tchiyat metim. Right? Everything in this world is supposed to die unless we have water, unless we drink water, unless our trees, our crops, unless it gets water, everything is always dying unless it replenishes itself. That's a little glimpse into what Tchiyat HaMetim looks like. Tchiyat HaMetim is also saw every morning. When we wake up, Baruch Hashem, we get our neshama back, we see a mini Tchiyat HaMetim. And we're still waiting for the Tchiyat HaMetim that the Torah is talking about, that the Rambam here is talking about, but that Be'ezrat Hashem we'll see one day. I will say that as a nation, we've already witnessed what a Tchiyat HaMetim could look like. Because a nation that goes out of Auschwitz and builds and creates Medinat Israel, that is also a glimpse of Tchiyat HaMetim. Be'ezrat Hashem, we should be zoche to the Geulah Shlema. Have a wonderful day.